Swaay.Health.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today, I have Shelby Auer with us today, Senior Account Manager from Hedy Hopp. Shelby, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
So, we have you on our show today because you were the recent award winner for Marketing Rising Star at the 2025 Swaay.Health Awards. So, we want to talk to you a little bit about how you kind of came into your current role, some of the stuff that you're doing at Hedy Hopp, and a little bit about what led you to win this award this year. So, we'll kind of just pop right into it. Maybe you can just start by telling us a little bit about your background and how you got started in the industry.
Yes. Hello, hello. Yes, I adore being in marketing and advertising, specifically in the healthcare space, but that was not the original plan it is, I feel like for most people that I talk to and run into. My background originally was in more journalism, public relations space, so very similar. Thought I was going to go down the nonprofit route. Um, had some opportunities there to kind of get my hands dirty and experience it. Wasn't entirely sold if that's what I wanted to do full time. And thought, okay, well, what do I love to do? What are some of the skills that I feel like I'm good at and want to grow in? And ended up getting an opportunity to intern at a small agency. Really got to get experience across account management, project management, strategy, and just fell in love with it. Fell in love with the juggling of different priorities, different projects, getting to know so many different types of people and what makes them tick and what they need and how they need it. So I kind of knew pretty early on in that role that, okay, this really fits me. I really enjoy this. Um, and I was really focused at first in the higher education space.
Hmm.
Um, I had a few clients that were schools of medicine that I kind of got me thinking a little bit more in the healthcare space. And when I was ready to find another opportunity, I really just was drawn to dive headfirst into healthcare. In my family, I've been touched a ton by a lot of different healthcare related events across my family. And I just knew I wanted kind of that deeper purpose behind what I was
Mm.
doing every day.
Right.
Um, so, to no one's surprise who know Hedy and Hop, when that came across my screen as I was looking into, what comes next, I was immediately drawn to their purpose, their values, and after having an initial conversation with Jenny and some of the leadership team, I knew that it was going to be a really, really good fit. So yeah, I've dove headfirst ever since then into account management at Hedy and Hop and all things healthcare, and just have been loving it over the last couple of years, 2.5 years almost.
That's amazing. And, I love that because I think most people who are in healthcare marketing didn't really think that they would end up in healthcare. And then similarly, kind of, find an opportunity and, it touches them and want, like you said, that deeper meeting and then kind of jump into it. So I love kind of that background that you have. And, you talk a little bit about Hedy and Hop and, I think for most people watching, listening, tuning in, know about Hedy and Hop. So maybe it's a very kind of, I think, unique agency life. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about your role there and what you do and what the company stands for.
Yeah. So as a senior account manager, I work closely with a variety of clients, and really kind of view my role as kind of that center point of what we're doing, why we're doing it, really leaning in to understand what the client needs, what their goals are, their priorities, making sure our team understands. I always kind of view it as like I'm the voice of our client to our team and the voice of our
Mm,
team to the client. So really making sure that I'm fostering relationships with the full group on both sides of the house. But also view myself as just kind of the biggest cheerleader of everything
mm,
going on, like really making sure everyone is staying positive, staying focused on what's going on. And at Hedy and Hop, we are a fully remote company, even though we
mm,
do have quite a few folks that are located in similar areas. Um, and it's been great to experience just the culture at Hedy and Hop, even though we
mm,
are fully remote. That's been something I was super passionate about when I joined the team, figuring out how to foster those relationships internally. Um, and yeah, Hedy and Hop does have something special because they they really focus on kind of living and breathing the company's core values. And I
mm,
mean, every company has core values, which are great, but I was very impressed with how we are really held accountable to living those out in reality, as we have our ongoing reviews with our managers, we are given feedback on how we are or aren't living those
mhm,
out in our day to day and talk through like areas of opportunity to grow more in one or multiple of our core values. And because I really personally aligned with what the company's core values were, I loved that that was kind of the center of, how we're seen to grow and continue to evolve in our professional lives beyond just these are the goals we need to hit, but
mm.
how are we actually developing as um, professionals inside and outside of our day-to-day work life.
Yeah, and what a place to be able to work at every day. And I think anybody who has either met you or the team or Jenny or even just seen you guys at a conference, I think those core values and that passion and all of that shines through even just to anybody stopping by the booth or anybody who meets you. So I think that's a telltale sign that, you guys are doing something, pretty amazing over there too.
Yeah.
And you talk about positivity and being a cheerleader a little bit. And so, I've heard that you've mentioned before pivot with positivity. And those are some of kind of your core values as well. So, can you tell us a little bit more about that mindset and how you kind of put it into action?
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like in healthcare marketing, like we pivot as much as we breathe.
Mm,
Like there's just constant change.
true.
And I don't know, to me, you can pivot and grumble and complain and be frustrated. And it's okay to have some of those feelings, but at the end of the day, pivoting with that optimism. And to me, working in account management, I'm like I really view myself as setting the tone on the work that I am doing with the clients as well as our team. And so, if I can look for that silver lining, if I can be optimistic, it doesn't only benefit our internal team's morale that's working on the work as things change, but it also helps our clients see bright spot even when things are hard. Like all the privacy changes that have given us whiplash over
Mm,
the last 3 to 5 years.
yeah.
We could sit here and be like, this is annoying, this is frustrating, but at
Mhm.
the end of the day, isn't it good that we're focusing
Mm,
on this for our patients at the end of the day? Isn't setting ourselves up to be successful when it comes to all of these ever-changing regulations, isn't that really a good thing at the end of the day? And kind of making sure that everyone's grounded in um, the why behind what we're doing. And I think that
mm,
helps as things change, as we have to shift. It's easy to um, get down and get frustrated. And so I think it's really, really huge to have that as a core value that we're all
mm,
trying to bring out of each other, but just
mm,
personally being able to bring that to the table. And it makes me really feel a lot of purpose and satisfaction when I'm able to like leave a meeting feeling like I lightened everyone
Mm,
a little bit. Like I want
mhm,
everybody to leave like a conversation or a meeting being like, okay, okay, I feel
mhm.
better about this in some way, shape, or form.
For sure. And it's a domino effect, you know. I think as you said, if negativity breeds negativity, but positivity can breed positivity. And you know, if you're like the law of attraction, if you're putting it out there, you know, other people are going to be taking it in. So I feel like that's such a great mindset to have, you know, not just professionally, but also, you know, personally as well.
100%.
Um, so let's talk about your team a little bit. You know, I've met a few folks on your team, and I'm sure other folks in the industry have as well. Um, and you know, you're surrounded, I think, by colleagues who are, like you said, you know, representing their core values and positive, and I'm sure who inspire you in more ways than one. Maybe we can talk about a lesson or maybe a quality that you picked up from someone on your team that's shaped, you know, how you lead or how you manage projects or just how you kind of work um, every day.
Yeah. Um, Honestly, a couple things come to mind. I think initially, I think of which again, I know a lot of people have probably seen her name pop up, but Jenny Bristow, who leads our, owner and founder at Hedy Hopp. I've been being able to be around her and observe her in just day to day and so much that has happened over the last few years as our company has grown.
Mm,
I've learned how much vulnerability is really an asset. And I think
mm,
lots of times everyone has their own hard line on, how vulnerable they do or don't want to be in their work life. And
mm,
that's very respectable. Everyone has their own kind of comfortability there, but I've really been able to see and then implement myself in being able to be vulnerable both with clients and with our
mm,
internal team and how that just like similar to what you were saying about the positivity piece, that is contagious. Like as soon as those walls break down, it's that reminder that at the end of the day, like we are all humans with lives behind these screens as we're meeting and talking about all of this important work. We also have a lot of other stuff going on behind the scenes, and it can be easy to just jump in, get into the nitty gritty, and not really get to connect personally. And so I think
mm,
that's been such a huge thing that I've valued, but to be able to see it and see the leadership by example at the very top, I think is
mm,
huge. Um, and I've seen across multiple members of our team the way they really live out. We have a core value that's called kind over nice.
mm,
All about like it's easy to be nice. It's easy to say the
mm,
nice thing, but sometimes the kind thing is the hard thing to do. It's the hard conversation
mm,
to do. Um, and again, we really focus on doing that both with our clients and internally, but I've really appreciated and been inspired by my teammates who will have that hard conversation, or maybe they see an opportunity for me. Hey, Shelby, like I really think if you could lean in a little bit more and maybe understand more about this technical aspect of this software, like that, I think that would really just like take you to the next level or really help you as you're communicating with the full group. And I just so
mm,
appreciate the honesty and that everyone's willing to share that with a good intent to help each other out. Um, and again, I think it just breeds that same energy to then give back to the rest of the team.
Yeah, and I think I love what you said there. I think also in a world where there's a lot of um, you know, there can be a lot of fakeness or a lot of surface level things that happen even when you're having conversations with people or meeting people. It's such a breath of fresh air when somebody is vulnerable or willing to have those hard conversations or goes a little bit deeper in like you said, your connections with your clients or your connections with your colleagues. I think that's such a thing that you know, I think a lot of people would benefit from if we did more of, right?
Definitely.
So you have been praised for your deeply researched strategies, approachable messaging, and some say nimble tactics. Maybe you can walk us through a recent campaign or moment where those strengths have come into play.
Yes. I mean, he- hearing like nimble tactics, I think just it goes hand in hand with a lot of what we've been discussing around like pivoting with
Mhm.
positivity. There's so
Mhm.
much that's changing all of the time. Priorities, state laws, and there's been
Mm,
so many times where we've got a plan in place, we've put together this strategy, this plan, and then of course there's something comes out of left field like okay, now this state, there's been different state laws that have been coming online where we've been working with a client and we took over media that they had been handling. And
mm,
then we, are kind of auditing, we're looking through everything and we're like, ooh, there's actually a
mm,
state law coming online in like 4 months that we cannot geo-target like this. We have to redo
mm,
all of this. And I think having a team that is willing to be nimble, to be flexible, to say, okay, this was not on our bingo card, but
mm,
this is the route that we got to take, so let's figure it out together. I think has been huge, and I think of countless times where things like that have happened. Um, and I think our team is just very willing to get into kind of the nitty-gritty of like I think about the deeply researched strategies that you mentioned,
mm,
and we've had clients where, they haven't done a deep dive into audience
mm,
research in a while, and they have a lot of good information. They have surveys that have been sent to patients. They have a lot of information at their fingertips that they just don't have the time to fully dive into. So we had a client who hadn't done that in a while, and we were able to kind of dive in for them and be able to pull some key areas of opportunities. Like, actually, these
mm,
are kind of your core audiences at over the last few years. Let's make some shifts. And here are
mm,
actually some big areas of opportunity, some services that do they even know that you offer this? Because we're not really seeing that a lot of these people who know you and are coming back to you are seeing you for this. But this seems like low-hanging fruit. So being able to really dive in and provide that kind of outsider perspective that maybe it just
mm,
hasn't jumped out to them on paper
mhm.
has been really rewarding and exciting to dig into and uncover.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people probably, once they get in the grind of things and get used to kind of what they've done, year after year, time after time, they lose sight of those things and having an outsider or a company like you guys or someone like you as an account manager come in and say, well, let's like look over at this part or let's look over here and see kind of what are things that maybe we've been ignoring that might be coming to the forefront that we really want to kind of capitalize on.
Definitely.
And so I think a lot of these tactics and a lot of these responsibilities that you've kind of taken on with your clients really kind of led to the award that you won this year, Marketing Rising Star. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about that. Um, what was your reaction when you found out? I know you were at our annual conference and you were sitting in the audience and you won the award. What was your first reaction and what does it mean to you to win?
It was so I was honestly shocked at first. Initially because I did not know that I was winning the award. A lot of my colleagues knew and chose to keep that from me.
Oh, fun.
So it would be a surprise. So I was completely in the dark until my name was called. Um,
Love that.
and so yeah, that was very exciting. I mean, there's so many healthcare marketers that are doing impactful work, so it feels like such an honor to be chosen out of such an amazing group of people. And It was just very, very special because I just care very deeply about any of the work that I do, the work that I touch, the folks that I'm talking to. So just receiving this just felt like a big just affirmation and just another kind of encouragement to just keep on keeping on in the good work. And I just felt very, very just felt very rewarding.
I love that. And your team clearly thinks the world of you, and I'm sure, to be recognized just solidifies not only, you were in with the team before and then the team at Hedy and Hop, but just to be recognized by your team, I'm sure just kind of amps that up quite a bit too.
Definitely does.
So we have a lot of, seasoned healthcare marketers that are, part of our community. We have a lot of new and, rising healthcare marketers that are on our scene. So I'm curious if you could give one piece of advice to other kind of new healthcare marketers on the scene who want to kind of build strong relationships with their team and clients. What would you say to them?
That's a good question. I think being recognized like this truly because I feel like I'm able to show up as my genuine self every day for my clients and for my team. I'm like, be your authentic, genuine self.
Mm,
Be honest, be genuine, be transparent. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Like the way that you lead and the way that no matter your title, no matter how long you've been where you're at, those qualities are contagious. Those qualities
mm,
really do make a big difference. And so I think always thinking about being that coworker or partner or client that you would want to have makes a really big difference and builds that genuine connection and trust that I think is just foundational to being successful in any way, shape, or form. Like at the end of the day, that's really the glue that kind of ties everything together. No matter what work
mm,
is going on, no matter what's going on in the world, like those are the key pieces
mhm,
that make for a really strong team and really strong partnership with clients.
mhm. I love that advice because I think um, so many people, whether you're seasoned or up and coming in the industry, do have kind of a fear of being, their authentic self, or maybe they feel like they need to play a part, or maybe they feel like they can't share or be vulnerable. Um, but part of our Sway community is really, leaning on each other and being vulnerable and sharing experience, sharing our faults, sharing our wins, but really having that deeper connection. So I think that's super important, and I love that you're kind of spreading that with your clients and your colleagues, and now to our listeners as well. All right, so we're going to wrap up here, but I'd love to know, what's next for you? Any personal or professional goals on the horizon that you're, excited about?
Uh, that's another good question. I feel like professionally, I'm very goal oriented, so I'm always kind of pushing toward the next thing.
Mm,
But I love any opportunities I get to kind of mentor
mm,
or be able to help. So I'm excited for the opportunities I continue to grow to really be able to flex more of those like mentorship muscles to be able to help guide. I've had so many amazing folks be that for me up until this point. So I'm
mm,
excited to be able to share that and continue growing those skills are kind of high on my list and on the radar. Um, and personally, I'm like scared to put this out into the ether, into the world, but I may be running my first 10K. And I'm not a runner. I'm not a runner, but I like a challenge. I like putting myself in situations that I wouldn't normally. So, I've got some amazing encouragement around me and some awesome people who are kind of throwing themselves out there. And so we'll see what happens, but
mm.
may be out there.
That's so good. Well, and what an accomplishment. I have never been a runner either and have always wanted to try to do it. And it is, I think, one of those lofty goals, but you just moved to Chicago. So if you can do it in Chicago, that's a great way or a great place to be running a 10K. Is it
Exactly.
10K or the full marathon? Did you say?
10K.
Okay, yeah.
We're
Start
starting
off this, yeah. I can't even do 5K, so a little.
starting with a smart goal that I
There
can
you go.
more
Love that.
feasibly
We
reach.
love SMART goals because that is key, right?
Exactly.
Well, I wish you all the best in that. Thank you, Shelby, for being here with us and chatting. Congratulations again on your win. And I look forward to seeing you coming up in the fall conference season. I'm sure I'll see you kind of out and about. And all the best in the rest of the summer for you.
Thanks so much for the time. I greatly appreciate it. And yes, I'm sure we'll see each other soon.
Great. Take care.